You know, Marty, you're one of two people that I know and that I consider friends that are graduates of the great Louisiana Tech University. I'm not saying it's a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
Well, I don't. Maybe I should meet the other person if they're
You
in Omaha.
you should. So he is one of the powerlifting greats from Louisiana Tech University.
You know, and
Good friend of mine.
Dr. Billy Jack Towson just died last week.
Yep.
Who
Nice
started that?
pull.
Yep.
Who sta- who
Jeez.
who who started that program? And for quite some time, they were the number one powerlifting team in the country.
Country.
Yeah.
What
And
a
yeah,
pull.
and Dr. Billy Jack was awesome. I was fortunate to have him as one of my professors on my second tour of duty when I went back to finish my marketing degree, and
Mm.
he was a great guy. I had not seen him in years, but yeah, he just passed last week.
You know what's funny? And I hate to take you away from the Chasers, but you dropped Billy Jack. So I put those two things together. I used to be big into following powerlifting and stuff like that. But then I was also, growing up as a kid, a big Billy Jack guy. So it's just interesting how the old Oklahoman
Yeah.
and the Ruston guy
Yep.
have both fit into my life. What a weird pull. Golly, MC, you're just a
We're
Rolodex.
all connected. We're all connected, baby.
All right, so how excited are you for the weekend? Obviously, the 4th, and it's going to be a long stretch here all week with Iowa, just maybe changing locations. You looking forward to getting back?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our team has played a little bit better over the last couple of weeks, and you know, we're just hoping for a little consistency. And what I mean by that is, you know, if the Royals can continue to pitch as they have, and the offense has shown some signs of life, you know, in the last 5 or 6 games, you know, that's going to give Jersh a little bit more of a consistent lineup here in Omaha. Hopefully, not as much change. But look, Iowa Cubs only come to town 9 times this year,
Yeah.
Mm.
so you know, we had the six, about a month ago, and we welcome them for the back half of this six, you know, tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday over in Iowa, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Omaha. So if you're a Cubs fan, and I know there are a couple of you that are out there in the metro area, this is your chance to see some really good prospects. You know, the Cubs obviously are playing well at the big league level, and they've got a lot of good talent, in the minors as well. So come out and and obviously a big show, FNBO Fireworks, 57th annual. It's crazy how time rolls on, but 57th straight year we've had, the big fireworks show here in the metro area dating back to 1969.
Marty, so I was obviously you've got the big fireworks coming out. You do a lot of the great family friendly like giveaways and events and things like that. But I was talking to somebody yesterday. I was out there when Jack Caglione made his all too brief appearance in Omaha, and I was just it'd probably been I guess about a year since I'd been out to a game, and I was just blown away at how consumable the minor league baseball experience was with the pitch clock and how quick the game moved and how quickly the reviews got done. I mean, they just stand there, tap their helmet, have about 5 seconds. That review is over. It was one of my most. I mean,
It's the best in sports outside of tennis.
it was legitimately one of my like better baseball viewing experiences at any level in a really long time. And I don't really have a question there. Just like kudos to you guys. Like it's a really fun time to watch baseball.
Well,
It belongs with tennis, right? I mean, those are the two best, most efficient replay systems
Oh,
going.
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
well, they are, and I'm eager to see if they do in fact, take the ABS, automatic balls and strikes, for those that don't know, but take the ABS system and use it in the majors. We're hearing that as early as next year it could happen. And when you look at how swift players are moving through the minor leagues now, with a brief, much more brief draft, only 20 rounds, and then there's only 4 levels versus the 6 or 7 depending on which minor league teams you have. So players are moving more quickly. So I think that makes it easier to these test rules that they've had in the minors to bring them to the majors. There's not as much pushback, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And look, I do think from a viewing perspective, if you're there as a fan, yeah, it's more efficient. It's more efficient. We've had a lot of people don't know, but we have had the pitch clock since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't start enforcing it until 2021. And then when you do throw in the ABS, we don't have replay yet on the base paths. That's something that has been talked about. But the flip of that is, as an operator, I don't mind 3-hour games. I do mind 3.5-hour games, but I don't mind 3-hour games. So some of these 215s, 220s, and 235s are a little swift when, you make a living on selling hats and T-shirts and hot dogs and beer. So there is a balance. There's a little bit of a balance, and those are the things that we continue to review, amongst the 120 on what are the other promotional and business things we can do to continue to, capture a fan and a ticket and a family being in the facility for the amount of time that they used to be, because it is shorter. It is shorter, and those are things that we talk about each day.
Even Sunday with the 28,000 in attendance, that game was 2:20, and it started late. It was amazingly brisk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think people notice the pitch clock, MC. It's just kind of how people do business now.
Yeah. I mean, look, and I think, obviously it's been normalized for years with play clock in football, with the shot clock in basketball. And, and look, I was a contrarian when we first brought it in 2015. DB, and I have spoken about it. I, for years, called it a shot clock. I wouldn't even call it a pitch clock. So I have relented. And look, overall, I think it's better for the game. Let's face it. We were talking about. You mentioned TikTok earlier. That's the society in which we are marketing to. We're not really specifically marketing to 50 plus in baseball. We really need to be marketing to 20 to 35, because we have to grow a new fan base, because there is a gap. There's a 35 to 50-year-old gap in there for whatever reason, where baseball lost its pizzazz. Baseball, for whatever reason, it fell behind the NFL, and there are a lot of reasons why. The NBA, even NHL to a degree, and so baseball, we're still working to get our mojo back as an overall industry.
Well, Marty, I've done whatever I could this year. I think I'm at 2 hats, a jacket.
You're rocking this.
I'll say I got the Storm Chasers hat up here today. I even went out to the garage sale that you guys had, bought myself a couple jerseys out there.
Yeah, I got a quarter zip.
I've been doing my best with the shorter games to help your revenue stream. So I think I've done my part.
Well, I appreciate that. The garage sale is kind of an underrated.
Oh, I love that.
So many different of our theme night jerseys, that we don't normally put in the team store, because most of the time those are for charitable auctions on those nights.
Mm-hmm.
So any listener out there, the next time we do have a garage sale, I think we're going to have one later in the season. So it'll be late August, early September. Just pop out. You may get an Omaha Sizzle. You may even find a stray Runza jersey. Who knows what you're going to find at a bargain price.
I picked up an old school Spikes jersey.
Oh, with the gold lettering?
It's the blue with the red outlines. Yeah. I was super pumped about that, Marty.
I'm sorry. But
it was a cool jersey. I don't know what to tell you.
No.
He hit the apology.
No, people think I've been here so long. They're like, why were you guys the Golden Spikes? That didn't make any sense. I'm like, look, that ended in 2001. I didn't show up to the 2007 season. Please, yep. I really don't have an answer on Golden Spikes. But it's so interesting to me how polarizing that specific name change was. And again, not being here, I don't have the perspective. But, I just kind of go with it.
It was the hand-wringing and consternation over the decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then to eventually go with that, it was long and drawn out and back and forth. It was a cool logo.
I
just don't think it just didn't, and then it didn't work for very long. So the revisionist history intensifies the disdain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, it is part of our history. So, every so often we do a turn back the clock night, and yeah, I mean it is. I think it's important to to dig deep and to and not only play as the Runzas, or not only play as with our community night ghost lettering jerseys, but to do something like Golden Spikes. And I think it is important to remember history and because I forget that my son, who's 16, doesn't even remember Rosenblatt at all. And that's weird to me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be about right.
That's wild.
That'd be about right.
Because it was 12. A couple years old, right?
Yeah. So here's the other thing. You know what the partnership with the parent club, and speaking of history, I don't know what the licensing issues would or wouldn't be, but you know what you guys ought to find a way to do is to somehow weave in a Monarchs reference, because the second most worn jersey at the stadium on Sunday behind Bo Jackson was some sort of KC Monarchs jersey. It went Bo, KC Monarchs,
I will say,
and then probably Bobby Witt.
they did the Omaha Rockets a couple years ago. That's one of the hats that I picked up, and those were sweet.
That's the next. And I know you guys got fantastic, marketing folks, both of them. So it's just like who am I to give you guys ideas?
I would snatch up some KC Monarchs gear though if it was available. I'm just saying, Marty.
Hey, so I gotta know though.
It's been a few years.
I gotta know, because you're so stinking competitive, and I get it. Butts and seats, that's the biggest deal. But you like to win. Where you're sitting right now, what's the focus for the Chasers on the diamond as you're trying to kind of ramp up for the promotions? I know you got what's coming up on the 11th. Is it Hogwarts? There's one more coming up that's huge too.
Yes,
I think on the 11th. But so
the 11th is Hogwarts night.
What's the next thing we're trying to capitalize on the most, Marty?
You're talking about a baseball or promotion?
Well, you're creative. I think you can weave them both in, right? Can't you, Mr.
Okay.
Competitive?
Well, yes. After this week, well, we have a first this Saturday night. The Papillion Taco guy is presenting basketball jerseys, so we'll be giving away basketball jerseys to the first 1,000 fans. They're really quality, and I'm eager to see how popular they are. That's Saturday night. But then, yes, the following weekend, as we wrap up the 9-game homestand, we're bringing Harry Potter night back, and there's an opportunity for fans to go buy a ticket and a scarf. They can pick the particular house that they want to support. And that's on Friday night, the 11th, along with fireworks. And then Bobby Witt Jr. bobblehead giveaway on Faith and Family Night. Iams Wealth Management presenting the bobblehead. And, there's a lot of fun, a lot of great things happening. And then on the baseball side, look, I think from a Royals perspective, and some of the conversations that, I have had with, their leadership, they're just focused on who's next from a depth perspective in the minors, because they have moved so many guys. If you look at the outfield, you've got Drew Waters, you've got John Rave, you've got Jack Caglione. I could go down the list. All those guys were in Omaha, and I would assume that they believe that some of them would be up at some point. But on the flip side, they didn't probably expect to be releasing Hunter Renfroe as early as they did with the veteran presence and the money they had invested in him. So, they have guys that are up there that they didn't think would be. So now they need to decide who are they backfilling depth-wise at the AAA, AA level.
That's interesting too, because I'm looking at Garcia, playing third base. I think they know he's not the long-term answer. So you may have to get while the getting's good for him, which bumps everybody else up there for the organization.
You could, but a lot of times I think we
would you write it out?
Young players. I think you expect young players to be Acuna. I think you expect young players to be, just pick a name on some of these guys that have just exploded on the scene and they haven't missed a beat. But you take someone like Michael Garcia, and he had average to good success in the minors. Mm-hmm. He always had great potential. He goes to the big leagues. And his first year, he actually performed fairly well. Last year, struggled mightily. They did not expect what they're getting, but you could argue that he is their all-star this year. Yes, Bobby Witt Jr. is probably going to make the squad as well. But Garcia, for what he has meant to the Royals this year, has had a more consistent, better year than Bobby, pound for pound. So I don't know. I'm not sure where he fits. Is India in the outfield? Is he third? Is Garcia at second? Is he third? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I hear what you're saying. You got to play. You have to continue to play the season. Baseball's a grind, and if you judge it on 100 games, you're going to miss something. And we'll see after 162 what happens.
That's our guy, Martie Cordaro, president of the Omaha Storm Chasers. Marty, appreciate the time as always. We'll see you back out at the ballpark.
Hey, thanks, guys. And if anybody's looking for tickets, 4th of July are going quite rapidly. So let our guys take care of you. And hey, you know what? Sounds like I need to do more Golden Spike tonight.
Listen,
we'll keep you, Ravi.
Being about 6 minutes of a drive worth from the ballpark, those fireworks, I can't tell you how me and the pups and the fam are looking forward to it. Wow. Light the sky up, buddy.
Listen, I just like the specialty gear. You know, I've got the Omaha Rockets hat. I've got the old school Omaha Royals hat. I've got the special red, white, and blue Storm Chasers hat.
This thing is sweet.
I've got it all, man. Like any specialty stuff. And listen, make sure you let me know when that garage sale is because I will be buying more jerseys.
I will. We'll let you know, especially since it's for charity. We'll let you guys know.
You're the man, MC.
It.
Appreciate the tickets, too, the other day,
Robbie.
man. It was fantastic.
I'm glad you guys made it down to the game, and I appreciate you guys supporting local sports, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great week.
Thanks, Perez.
That's our guy, Martie Cordaro.
Bye-bye.